Hi everyone, I want to introduce you to the first of the season's club summer patterns, which is the Hakone scarf. So let me hold this up. It's good and long, obviously, and it begins at one end and works all the way up to the other. There's two options for your edging. This one is your ruffle option, where you begin with a lot more stitches than you're going to end up with, and you're working a garter stitch for several rows where it's very wide. Then you're going to go ahead and do a decrease all the way across for a couple of rows, so it drops the stitch count down to a third of what it started off with, and then you begin your lace pattern. But by having such a fast decrease, it creates a very prominent ruffle along the edge. So it both adds a nice finish to it, but if you can see here, the ruffle actually adds a little bit of weight because there's extra fabric down there. So does double duty. From there, you're just going to work straight up with your stitch pattern with a little bit of garter on each edge. And it is a very easy to memorize lace pattern because it is going rhythmically back and forth. Once you've done one or two repeats, it becomes very straightforward to actually read your knitting, to kind of see where you are and just make sure you stay on pattern. And before you know it, you won't even be picking up the actual chart. You'll just have it in your head. And for me, at least, that was the point where it became a very pleasant travel knitting project, because I was able to read off the knitting. I didn't have to worry about being in the wrong place or anything like that. So extremely relaxing. You can work all the way along to the end. And then when you reach that point, when you've reached the length of the scarf you want, you're going to do the inverse of what you did at the beginning. So at the start, we had started with the ruffle and did all the decreases. Now we're doing the ruffle in the other direction. So instead of decreases, it's increases. So we go from the original number of stitch counts on the first row, you double it, and you double that again on the next row. And you end up with far more stitches than you began with for the scarf. And as you can see, it adds a nice weight at the end of your scarf again. If you want to make sure you make the most use out of your yarn, but that you don't go over, I would suggest weighing what you have to begin with, and then weighing how much you used for this first section here with the ruffle. Then when you finish, make sure you have that much left over, plus a little bit extra just in case it takes a small bit longer on the second time round, or your bind off takes a bit more yarn than your cast on. And that way you can make full use of the yarn and you don't have to worry about running out. So get started on your scarf, and I hope it makes a very pleasant summer knitting project.